Maybe there's something we can do, said Daddy. Mama and Daddy got on the telephone and called all of our neighbors. The next day, everybody on our block came to our house to talk about what we could do to save Mrs. Wade's store. The following Saturday, all the kids in the neighborhood passed out flyers to get folks to come to Mrs. Wade's bookstore. The grown-ups contacted the local TV news stations and newspapers and called Mrs. Wade's landlord to ask him to lower her rent so the store could stay open. On Sunday, we made signs that said, "Save our store." Oh, I'm going to go back to that page. And then marched around the neighborhood. It felt like being in a parade. Save our store, save our store, save our store. The next Saturday, we had a huge block party to raise money. There was singing and dancing and tables full of good food. I helped Mrs. Wade at her table, and we sold boxes and boxes of books. I had so much fun, I almost forgot to feel sad. Almost. Even with all the signs and the flyers and the block party, I still wanted to do something special for Mrs. Wade. I wanted to give her a gift that would just be from me. I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with any ideas. "What are you thinking so hard about?" Mama asked. "I want to make a special gift for Mrs. Wade, but I can't think of anything," I said. "Well, why don't you close your eyes and take a deep breath," Mama said. "Then remember all the good times you had with Mrs. Wade at the bookstore. I'm sure you'll come up with something." I closed my eyes and followed Mama's suggestion. Suddenly, I had an idea. I jumped up, got out a new notebook, and started to write. I wrote down everything I loved about Mrs. Wade's store, from the sound of the wind chimes hanging on the door to the smell of the brand new books and Mrs. Wade's peppermint tea. I wrote all afternoon and all evening long. Mama and Daddy even let me write during dinner. The next morning, I finished writing and ran over to Mrs. Wade's store at its usual opening time. But when I got there, the store was closed. My heart pounded with fear as I peeked through the front window. Could Mrs. Wade have closed the store without telling me? I was about to go home to tell Mama and Daddy when I heard Mrs. Wade's voice. "Destiny, here I am," Mrs. Wade called from her stoop next door. "Why isn't the store open?" I asked. "I just needed some time to think," Mrs. Wade said. "Will you have to close the store forever?" I whispered. "I hope not, but I'm just not sure, Destiny," Mrs. Wade said sadly. "It's hard to know if customers will keep coming back." I didn't know what to say. Then I remembered my notebook. "I have a present for you," I said, and handed the notebook to Mrs. Wade. Her eyes lit up with the surprise when she opened and saw Mrs. Wade's Bookstore by Destiny Crawford. "Why don't you read it to me?" Mrs. Wade asked, a big smile spreading across her face. I read every word as Mrs. Wade listened with her eyes closed. When I finished, Mrs. Wade gave me a big, long hug. "Destiny, this is the best present anyone has ever given me," she said, beaming. "Words are a powerful gift indeed." That time I knew exactly what she meant. Mrs. Wade and I don't know if the store will close, but until then we are going to keep reading and writing and gobbling up all the words we can.